You are a cultural pioneer, or as I'd like to say, a culture-neer. You're daring to go where others aren't willing to go. The unknown doesn't scare you, it intrigues you. You're not satisfied with the status quo. Business as usual is not in your DNA. You're done with doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You're an explorer at heart and a trendsetter by nature. You were born with purpose, called to lead, destined to make a difference. You are a culture-neer. Hey, welcome to the Culture-Neer Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Gwaltney, and this is where we're going to explore how faith, leadership, and culture intersect to help build organizations that really, truly matter. Today, we're going to be digging into a topic that might be the single most important factor in the long-term success of your business, your ministry, your organization. It's leadership development. Think about that for a minute, guys. The single greatest way to impact your organization isn't a new strategy or shiny marketing campaign. It's really focusing on developing leaders. Why? Because great cultures are built by great leaders, and great leaders don't just magically appear on the scene. They're developed. Why? Because businesses don't fail. People do. So if you want to grow your business, you need to grow your people. So it's been said that everything rises and falls on leadership. I think it was John Maxwell that said that. But what if I told you the greatest impact you can have as a leader isn't the results you drive today? It's in the leaders that you develop for tomorrow. So here's our big idea. Great cultures, they don't just start by accident. They're built intentionally by great leaders. And again, great leaders don't magically appear. They're developed. Here's the part that I want you to understand. Even in our organization, one of our mantras is we're a leadership development company, and we happen to provide home improvement solutions. That's one of our companies. And it almost seems like an oxymoron. So what are you? Are you one or the other? Well, we're really both. But first is we're a leadership development company. Think about building a house. You know, you have to have a foundation, but you don't start with the roof. You start with the foundation because the foundation literally is foundational to everything that you're going to build, and it's going to be able to sustain it. And it has the greatest impact on the longevity of the home that you're building. Well, your leadership development has the greatest impact on the longevity of the success and the legacy of your business, your organization, or your ministry. And the development part is what's key, because you can't be a lazy leader and expect to develop leaders, other leaders. Why? Because the whole term develop means it's going to be messy. It's going to require patience. It's going to take time. You're going to have to recorrect. You're going to have to reset. You're going to have to step in and model, and then step back and watch, and then step back in again and tweak and mentor and coach. And it takes time. But the process of all of that is well worth it, and you need to look at it as an investment. Otherwise, your dream, whatever that is going to be limited by your limited time, your limited capabilities, and your limited experience. And so duplicating yourself and pouring yourself into other people is the key to achieving a big dream. It's the key to scalability. It's the key to longevity. It's the key for you to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor so you can operate and still be healthy, because everything's not rising and falling on you. Listen, if everything in your organization is rising and falling on you, you have a problem. Number one, that's not good leadership. No, sometimes we're in that process to where we're early on and we're having to do it and we're passing it on, but some of us procrastinate, and that time period lasts way too long. And so you're just hung out there in this perpetual cycle that almost feels like a trap. And sometimes, I mean, there's a variety of reasons why you can end up living there. You can live there because you don't trust anybody else. So you're not willing to delegate anything to somebody else. It could be a pride issue. You know, you need to feel important, and you're a control freak. I mean, let's just be real, guys. There's a lot of reasons that really end up being excuses sometimes on why we never get off this hamster wheel. And the problem is not only will your business not grow, the way you desire for it to, your organization expand its influence the way it could have, is that your lifespan is being shortened. Let's just be real for a minute. You're carrying too much stress, too much weight, too much responsibility, and you can't do it over a longer period of time. By the time you hit 50 and 60, you're not going to be able to carry the same weight that you were carrying in your 30s and your 40s. And you're going to operate probably with more wisdom. You're going to have experience and mistakes to be able to draw from. Well, you'll work smarter, but your body's not going to cooperate the same way. So longevity and all these different things factor into this leadership development that we're talking about today. You see, leadership isn't just about attracting followers. It's about creating more leaders. If this is messed up in your mind and that you think that the win is just attracting more people to follow you, it's not a true win in the long run. It really is about creating more leaders. See, oftentimes we admire leaders who have these huge teams and they have big influence. But the real measure of leadership isn't how many people that serve you. It's how many people you serve and empower. Let me say it again. Pride and arrogance, ambition sometimes can look from the wrong measurement of even success. The real measure of leadership isn't how many people that are serving you. It's how many people you're serving and how many people are you empowering. Like if you walked out tomorrow, would your business be able to cooperate? Some of you guys can't even take a vacation. You can't take a vacation because it's so dependent on you, it would fall apart. You would lose ground if you were out of the office. Can I tell you that is a symptom of a lack of leadership development. If you can't step away for 5 or 6 days and you've got just a handful of employees, then there's a problem with that. That needs to be a wake-up call. And you need to, spend the time. You're sharp enough to do this. You have the grit to be able to make that happen. You started a business probably out of nothing. You maybe took over an organization that was failing and now you're starting to see success and you've turned around. You can do this. Just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean it's not within your potential to be able to do. This just needs to be developed in you as well. So when you commit to developing the leaders around you, what happens is you're multiplying your influence far beyond your own capacity. This is the key. You create a ripple effect that strengthens your organization's culture. It strengthens its impact. And guys, it strengthens your future. Now, why does that matter so much? Well, here's why to focus on leadership development. Because investing in leaders today ensures your success not only now, but your sustainability later. That's why you need to be in investing. And what I mean is investing. Any kind of investment means I'm having to give up something now in the immediate. It's a temporary sacrifice for a long-term gain. And a lot of times the leadership development is not just money, although that's important. You have to be willing to send people off to get them trained. You have to buy them resources to expose them to experiences they don't have yet, to tweak their skills and, all those different things. But then there's the other side of that. It's going to cost you time. And for most of us that are in any kind of a leadership role, the time is more costly to us than money because there's a scarcity of it. It's limited. It slows you down to be able to take what you could do in half the amount of time to show somebody else and then step back and watch them do it and not do it as well as you do, and then step back in and tweak that, and then finally get comfortable to begin to delegate and completely release that to them. That costs you more time in the interim up front. But investment is I'm looking out to how that's going to be a payback for me. Guys, you can't just live in the moment, or you'll be pulled around living in a reactive mode your entire life. You want to be in a proactive mode, which requires a plan. And so when you start switching to that mode, what happens is you're looking to where you could be, not just where you're at. And then you have something that you're aspiring to. So now I can back that up and I can invest now because I know over the longer period of time, it's going to move me closer to that. And so sometimes, again, we're so inside the bottle that we can't read our own label. And you have to step back from that. And that's where that vision really helps you and pulls you kind of like a magnet. So imagine a company, an organization, or a ministry where leadership development is at the core. When the crises come, and it's not if, it's when, because they always do, those organizations don't crumble. They actually tend to thrive. Many times they find opportunities in the middle of distress where other people are laying off, where some organizations are folding up, where some people can't pay their bills, where some ministries, can't figure out how to get people back, into their church. And suddenly, even like during COVID, they grew an audience. So what's different, because they're developed leaders, and they've developed leaders ahead of time. They have a deep bench of capable, confident, value-driven leaders that are ready to step up. You need to ask yourself, do you have that? Are you working towards that? When opportunity comes, opportunity generally is you plan for when the timing is right, but many times you don't know when the timing is right until you're living in the moment. And at that time, are you ready to seize the moment? Have you been preparing for that moment? When you start a basketball season, your goal is to probably win a championship, or it should be. So you're looking at where you could be at the end of the season. All the practice, all the games, everything that lead up to that are preparing you for that moment. And if you get to that championship game, then you're prepared for that. You've been working towards that. But what if you just played the season and, hey, we're just playing for fun, and you didn't realize how good you were, and suddenly now you're in the regionals and you win. Oh, now I'm in the sectionals. I can't believe this. You really wouldn't be prepared from a mental mindset or really having your bench prepared to go into a championship game and be able to win. And so you need to work on your bench. Or you see a great team in basketball and they have 5 people and they've not spent any time on their bench. You can't take 4 great people and beat 5 average people as a general rule. So you can't just ignore your bench. Leadership development isn't an expense. It really is an investment, and it has a high return. It's about legacy. It's about longevity. It's about impact. So how do I prioritize this leadership development? Let me give you a couple of tips today. The first one, I would say, start with yourself. Every leader's first responsibility is to lead themselves. I mean, guys, this is the foundation. You are the pace setter in your organization. You cannot develop leaders if you aren't growing personally, period. I don't have time to do that. Then you probably ought to go work for somebody else. You probably ought to go work in another organization. If you don't have time to grow personally, then I'm just going to be straightforward. You don't have any business leading other people, and you won't for very long. Because if you have a winning team, they're soon going to outpace you, and then they're going to lose respect for you, and then you don't have influence, because leadership's not a title, it's influence. And so influence comes out of respect, and you have to have something to be able to offer, to be able to lead people and to speak into their life. It's just foundational. You need to invest in your own growth, whether that's, from a spiritual standpoint, an emotional standpoint, professional standpoint. I mean, every aspect of your life you need to be investing in. So when you show up, you're present. So when you show up from a holistic standpoint, you can speak into the lives of the people that you're leading, because the work aspect of their life is not the only thing that affects their performance. Things that are going on at home in their personal life affect what's happening in their performance professionally. Holistically, you need to be able to help and understand and speak and provide resources into the lives of all of those people in every aspect of their life. You need to set out to be a lifetime learner. Ask yourself, what am I doing to stay sharp? Am I reading? Am I seeking mentorship? Am I finding somebody that can coach me in certain areas? Am I attending any kind of workshops, seminars, conferences? Am I surrounding myself with people who challenge me to grow? Maybe those people don't all work for you, but are you putting yourselves in positions where other people will challenge you? They even talk to you like I'm talking to you today, but yet they know you on a personal level. You need those kind of people in your life. John Wooden was probably one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. He recently passed away in his 90s, a man of character and integrity, influenced and raised up young men. He didn't just win basketball games. He raised up young men, and his influence went well beyond their career. They came back to him because he had built relationship and added value to their life. And I love this quote. He says, "It's what you learn after you know it all that counts." Guys, never stop learning. Never stop growing. Why? Because your team is going to mirror what they see in you. And if you're a lifetime learner, then you're going to have people, and you'll be surrounded by people that want to be taught, that want to be challenged, that want to grow, that want to learn. Potential is not about where someone is right now. Potential is about where they can go. And your job as a leader is to figure out, how can I extract out of them? Think about going and mining a precious jewel, a diamond, buried deep in the earth, a lot of equipment. Somebody has to buy the land, buy the equipment, hire the operator, begin to dig and remove a lot of dirt. And you may remove tons of dirt in order to find a single diamond. And it's the same way as your leadership development. You have to dig inside of people. If you're going to develop somebody, it doesn't mean they show up on the scene and immediately have all the gifts, all the talents, and all the experience that they need. Think about a baseball team. St. Louis Cardinals have a long, storied history of winning. One of the reasons is they're known for their farm system. They recruit people and see potential in people that others don't. And then suddenly you see these guys show up in the major leagues. Albert Pujols was a great example of that. A Hall of Famer from the Dominican that was in their farm team. They seen something in him, and when he showed up on the scene, he had a major impact and influence on the team. They enjoyed a couple of World Series trips. But they seen something that other people were only looking at. Guys, again, that's what leaders do. Other people look at something and they pass on by. Leaders look at something and they see the potential, what it could be. This is what we're talking about. You see that in business. You see that where you're planning your organization. You see where you can solve a need, and if you solve the need, you're going to be compensated for it. Take that same lens and look at people that way. What's in them that could be there? What have they not seen yet that if I just water that a little bit, if I just pull that out of them, if I just believe in them, push them just a little bit where they can gain some confidence and see that they can do it, that'll change the course of your organization. That'll change the course of your business. Probably even more rewarding, it'll change the course of their life. And they'll be loyal, and you'll have a friend for the rest of your life. Remember, guys, leadership is a choice. It's not just a title. Many people have leadership potential, but need someone to believe in them. They need someone just to give them a chance. Call out the potential in people. Speak life into their gifts. Encourage them to step up even before they feel ready. Most people are going to have fear and apprehension on something that they haven't done before, and they don't have the confidence. That's where they need you cheering them on. That's where they need you believing in them. Because for many of them, they're not going to have that until they do it. And they've convinced themselves in their mind, when I feel confident, I will do it. And you may be the confidence tipping point to push them out, to get them to the point to be able to do that. It's the only way they're going to get the experience. Third thing, you need to provide the opportunities. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in a challenge. It happens in the stretch zone. And most people aren't willing to go in the stretch zone because we want to live in the comfortable zone. Isn't it amazing? We'll live in the comfortable zone and complain about what we don't have and pine away for what we want. And sometimes even be envious of what other people have. But we're not willing to change what we do. We complain about where we're at because it's not comfortable, but yet we're so comfortable we won't experience any kind of stretch in order to change and get what we really want. You need to be in the stretch zone. So provide those opportunities. Create safe but challenging spaces for future leaders to grow. In other words, there's some things that they can fail at, and it's not detrimental to your organization. You could have done better. But you're investing in them. Pick and choose where those opportunities are at. Maybe it's a new project, a new responsibility, opportunity to lead a meeting. Maybe it's kind of being the ambassador and representing the team somewhere externally. Pick and choose those things, but look for those opportunities, because those are the things that grow people. And pair those opportunities with coaching and feedback. I can't stress how important that is. The coaching is like, here's what I would do if I was going to do that. I know this is your first time. That's coaching them. The feedback part of that is just as important. Don't just tell them great job. It may be a great job, but how could it be better? And maybe it was a disaster. Just be honest. Don't candy coat it. You can critique the problem without crucifying the person. Do you want them to live there? Absolutely not. And so that's your leadership. So that coaching and feedback, super important. Remember, people don't grow just because you push them into the deep end. They grow when you challenge them and then you walk alongside them. There's a big difference. Sometimes lazy leadership is the reason why we're losing quality people. And we lose somebody and it's like, yeah, they just wouldn't do their part. Really? That is the case sometimes. But then you can see that person in a similar field and they're excelling. What happened? It wasn't just a change of environment. It was a change of leadership. And so somebody had a different leadership style, maybe. Somebody challenged them. Maybe somebody believed in them. So lessons to be learned for all of us. Fourth thing, model servant leadership. True leadership is about serving, not controlling. And I want to tell you something. This was modeled by the greatest leader, of all time. Jesus Christ undoubtedly was the greatest leader of all time. And there's a passage in the Bible that says the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. So if that's a quote from the mouth of the greatest leader, arguably, there's something we can learn. His words inspired the best-selling book of all time. I don't mean currently. Of all time, the entire history, the best-selling book inspired by his words, the Bible, by this guy. This guy chose a team of imperfect people, and he believed in them, and he invested in them, and they influenced the world with his teaching and training. His impact was so great, all of history is measured by when he was born. For us, we die, we're going to go out and see a tombstone. He was born in 1968. Boom. Died in whatever, 2050. And there'll be a little dash in between, and that dash will represent what really happened in our life. This guy showed up on the scene and split history literally in half. All of history is measured by this one leader. When it says BC, everything that happened before he showed up, that's that part of history. Once he showed up on the scene, AD, everything that happened after his death on a cross, it marked history forever. So there's some leadership lessons that can be learned here. So when you serve your people, you create an environment where humility, trust, and collaboration thrive. And that's what you want, because a team can beat an individual anytime if they're operating as a team. And the one person can be better than any one individual on a team, but he can't outwork 5 people. Think about it. And so show them what it means to put others before yourself. Show them what it means to listen deeply and intently. In other words, listening for the emotion behind the words, to be quick to lift other people up and encourage them. You'll inspire them to lead in the same way. You have to model it. People rarely remember every word that you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. So be the leader who makes them feel seen, valued, and empowered. If you do that, it's going to be life-changing. And the fifth thing I'd say is celebrate the progress. We often focus so much on the big wins that we forget to celebrate the small steps that really get us there. And as a leader, we can all be guilty of that. We're working so much for the big picture, we're not celebrating when the one piece of the puzzle shows up onto the scene. So recognize and celebrate these little growth milestones, because they're moving you in the right direction. What you reward is what's going to get repeated. What you recognize is what gets repeated. So when someone takes a new leadership risk, when they launch a new initiative, when they mentor somebody else on the team, when they embody your values in a tough situation, call it out, celebrate it. Create a culture where your growth is noticed and applauded, not just results. We want results, just like we want perfection. But we're not going to get perfection, so we need to celebrate progress because it's moving us closer to the ultimate goal. Here's some questions for you to ask yourself today. Real practical. Am I intentionally building a pipeline of leaders in my organization? And the key word there is intentionally. Am I investing in my leadership growth right now? Look in the mirror, leadership growth right now. Who on my team has untapped potential? And then how can I help them develop it? These are real questions you need to be asking. What opportunities can I create this month to stretch and grow my emerging leaders? How can I model servant leadership day in and day out? Reflect back at the end of the week over missed opportunities maybe last week. And then in your mind, also celebrate the wins where you actually did it well. And when was the last time I celebrated someone else's growth or their leadership step? Think about that. Some of that's going to really encourage you to do more of it. Some of it's going to challenge you like, man, I kind of suck at that. I need to pick up the game. But you're the leader. You set the pace. So it starts with you. So here's what I would ask you to do. This would be my call to action for you this week. And hopefully you pulled something out of this today. Leaders create leaders, not followers. If all you're doing is creating followers, you need to step back and look at your leadership, your personal leadership, and figure out how can I grow that. As a leader, part of your God-given purpose is to help other people discover their purpose and then equip them to live it out boldly. Imagine what would happen if every entrepreneur listening today was committed to developing just one new leader in their sphere of influence. Imagine the ripple effect that could have on our businesses, our organizations, our communities, even our families. Guys, let's be leaders who build leaders, create cultures that will outlive us, and leave a legacy of faith, character, and impact. We'll see you next time on the Culture-Neer Podcast.
Thank you for joining us on Culture-Neer, where every episode is a step forward on your leadership journey. We hope today's conversation sparked new insights and added real value to your life, empowering you to lead with greater strength and purpose. If you enjoyed what you heard, please connect with us. Follow our Facebook and Instagram pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content, and give us a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us grow our community and continue delivering conversations that matter. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep striving, keep leading, and keep inspiring.